The question here today is what happened to Eugenie Bouchard? A few years ago, if I recall correctly, 2014 Wimbledon, she was in the spotlight. She got to the finals. She was the new upcomer. But since then, after her incredible rise in 2013 and 2014, you can see from the charts she started dropping like a rock. It's never one thing, it's never a simple answer, right? And I don't obviously know her on a personal level, so I don't know what goes behind the scenes, but I'm just going to do some analysis from a tennis perspective to help you as a player understand what to do and what not to do, and what things can be sustained and what things aren't sustainable. So first I want to address a technical error Eugenie does on the forehand side. So I'm going to have the video pause right here on the forehand. And what Eugenie is going to do is take the racket back a little too early. And what that's going to do is stop her kinetic chain from flowing in motion. And so why is that important? Again, I'm going to replay it right now. The body generates power and energy using momentum, starting slow and going faster and faster and faster, with each muscle adding to that momentum of the stroke, ultimately culminating all your power into the ball. So what Eugenie does, unfortunately, is when she takes her racket back, and although a lot of coaches say to take the racket head back early, she takes it back so early she's almost stopping her momentum and then having to regenerate that momentum again. Imagine a golfer taking a swing halfway up, stopping, and then having to turn back even more to generate just all the momentum that was previously lost from that stop or hitch in the swing. Although Eugenie will be able to hit extremely well from time to time, over a long period of time she'll need to use more energy to generate the same amount of power that another player, let's say like Coco, would be able to generate, having a very smooth and rhythmic swing. And therefore, not only would Eugenie be more likely to break down over time, she would have to swing harder to get the same power. Therefore, she wouldn't be able to go for the corners as much because she wouldn't have control over the ball. And a lot of times, she wouldn't get quite as much pop on her ball, as you can see here in this clip when she loads up, and she just doesn't get much pop on her ball, comparative to how athletic she is and how strong she is. So essentially, this early racket preparation is just killing her. And I have a few practice clips here in slow-mo, and then you'll see the real version live of how early she takes the racket back, her kinetics totally stopping and having to restart. And that's sapping all sorts of great energy that she's generating from the ball. In terms of what a player should do, take the racket back not early but on time. And on time means neither early or nor late. Taking the racket back on time means taking it back in rhythm with the ball. So if the ball comes slow, the racket take back is going to be a little bit slower. If the ball comes fast, it will be faster. Either way though, your kinetics should never stop, because once your kinetics stop, there goes your power, and you have to generate all that momentum, that precious momentum that was lost by having that hitch in your swing. And on top of that, so your body has a natural coil and uncoil. That's like a spring that loads and unloads, that stores energy and releases energy. By holding that coil, you're essentially holding your energy in. You're withdrawing it, and you're not getting that natural, sort of like a twist top, that turn and unturn, and that you're not getting that spring. So that's why we want to swing in sync and not early, although a lot of times coaches will tell players to take the racket back early, especially when they're beginning tennis, because taking the racket back early is better than not taking it back at all. So this goes to show you really don't need to achieve perfection even to be a good player. As long as you do a lot of things right, and believe me, there are a lot of things to work on in tennis. But if you do most of it right, you're going to be a really good player. I actually, overall, although we're criticizing Eugenie Bouchard here, I actually like her quite a bit as a player. She's a hard worker. She hustles for every point. She's engaged when she plays. But Of course, there's always room to improve, so we're actually going to keep on going. So Eugenie is one of those players who throws her body around quite a bit when she plays, and although a lot of people like the effort, this is actually quite bad balance. And the question is, why is balance so important? So I have the point replaying a few times here. But balance is sort of what allows all your kinetics to flow and your timing to be in sync with your kinetics. And so when she's leading, so her posture is constantly off. This happens more so when she's playing matches. But all the principles of technique and physical are related to time and energy. Again, tennis is a game. It's a very simple game where really all that's happening with a tennis ball is two players transferring energy back and forth. And that's why we talk about so much kinetics and the efficient energy usage. Because even if you're a better athlete, hence that meaning you have more energy to use, if you're not using your energy efficiently in the form of technique, you're never going to be the best you can possibly be. So when I watch her play, she's throwing her body around so much, it's really just a lot of energy is just wasted. It's just dissipating into thin air, and it's not being focused into the ball. Even if, like in this point shown here, she hits a winner, it doesn't matter because over the course of a match, over the course of many tournaments, over the course of a long season, she won't be playing at her best as if she was on balance. So balance is something you have to actively practice and get your coach to do balance drills where, like a gymnast, you can stick the landing instead of, if you're on a balance beam wobbling, you're using your excess energy to try to find your center instead of using that energy which could be applied into the ball. And when you apply more energy into the ball, you put more pressure on your opponent, and thereby putting more pressure on your opponent makes you a tougher opponent to beat. So for Eugenie, again, she does so many things right, but if her balance and her forehand, those are the two areas probably holding her back from a more technical standpoint. So just to wrap this video up, normally I don't do a whole lot of videos on technical because it's really hard to teach technical over the internet. But of course I do, especially for the mental side of the game, phone consultations, and sometimes technical, it does work, and depending on what your fix is. So you can click the link below to get in touch with me just to see how I can be of benefit to your game. And also, of course, get the book. It's one of the great references you'll have to understand everything about tennis and be able to fix pretty much anything you have in the 15-point system. So thanks again. Look forward to talking to you on the next video. And until then, peace out.